Yo, no way. No time for intro today, bro. They finally did it. They finally traded James Harden from the Houston Rockets. He is now a member of the Brooklyn Nets. That is insane, man. I didn't think that trade would ever happen. I thought it was a great trade. I never thought it would happen, though. KD, Kyrie, James Harden. Best three-person scoring duo in the NBA history. Maybe the best offensive team in NBA history. Possibly better than the offensive team of the Golden State Warriors when they had KD. This is a blockbuster trade, one of the biggest trades I've ever saw, in my opinion. Let's get into what all this means right here. Okay, so this was a 4-team trade now. The 4 teams involved were, of course, the Rockets and the Nets. You know, James Harden and the Nets. They had to be. And the Pacers and the Cavs were all involved. So let's start. Of course, the Nets got James Harden. The Cavaliers got Jarrett Allen. That's a really good pickup for them. Now they can decide if they want to stay with Drummond. They're probably going to let Drummond go now, I would imagine. And they have Jarrett Allen for their future. And they also got Taurean Prince, who's a really good wing. This just helps the Cavs add to their depth. And the Pacers, they got Karis LeVert and a second-round pick. Which, if you guys don't know, that means the Pacers gave up Victor Oladipo. Yeah, he was the other star involved in this trade. There are 2 stars. So the Rockets, in return, get Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Kirkus from the Nets, and that's all players they get. So really, they have to get Victor Oladipo. The other 2 don't matter. And then they get 3 Brooklyn first-rounders in 22, 24, 26. They get a Milwaukee first-rounder. And they get 4 pick swaps for the Brooklyn Nets. So they get 4 first-round picks and then 4 pick swaps. That's a lot of picks, man. That's a lot of fucking picks. But they did. It's basically like they traded James Harden for Victor Oladipo. It's not the best trade in the world, but I think the Rockets can still be a really, really good team. So that is the plus side. And on the other hand, the Rockets were screwed if they lost James Harden, because they give up all their draft picks to pair James Harden with stars, with Chris Paul, Westbrook. They go all their draft picks to get those players. Well, they had to get draft picks out of trading James Harden, and well, they did it. They got a star back in Oladipo, who can probably be their second best player next to John Wall, and they also got a lot of first round picks, so at least they're not screwed. That is the good thing. At least they're not screwed. Alright, so I'm going to talk about how it affects all these teams, and then we'll get into how it affects the Nets. That's what you're really here for. Alright, so for the Cavaliers, of course, they got Taurean Prince, Jarrett Allen. That makes them deeper for the year. Maybe they have finished a few spots higher than they would before, but they're still going to miss the playoffs. Okay, that's the Cavs. The Indiana Pacers. Alright, I like the move for getting Karis LeVert. The only ironic thing about it is they drafted Karis LeVert and traded him on draft night. But anyways, they get Karis LeVert. I kind of like it because this way they don't have to pay Victor Oladipo. You know, they had to decide, do they want to bring back Victor Oladipo? Is he worth this much? If he asks for this much, will we let him walk? Is he going to walk? They don't know any of that. Now they got Karis LeVert locked up. He gets about $17 million a year. Pretty team-friendly contract. Fused up a few dollars for him, too. And I feel like he's more of a, just fits more in the system of the Pacers. You know, because Victor Oladipo was kind of taking too many shots, and they just had too many good things going on. I felt like he didn't really fit there anymore, you know, being injured for a lot of time. Sucks, but that's how it is. The Rockets. I said they could be a dark horse team. I think they have no chance in hell of winning the NBA championship now, but they can still be a really good team, man. I mean, think about it. They got John Wall, Victor Oladipo, and then they still got PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, they could still potentially sneak into the West playoffs, but the West is really deep. So without having a superstar, who knows, they might miss it. For the Rockets' sake, I just say, thank goodness you got some first-round picks, man, because that was the most important thing. You don't want to be the next Brooklyn Nets. And I'm not talking about KD and Kyrie Brooklyn Nets. I'm talking about the time before KD and Kyrie and before D'Angelo Russell. Y'all all remember those Nets. Okay, and the Brooklyn Nets. So how do the Brooklyn Nets fare after this trade? I mean, we already know they have an unstoppable trio now, KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. But we all know that even if you have those players, you know, you're still going to need some type of supporting cast around them. So do they have anybody? I mean, they just traded away a lot of people, right? Well, they still have a little bit of pieces. They have Joe Harris. He can start at small forward for them. Start KD at power forward. So the three people I already mentioned, I mean, they're three of the best three-point shooters of all time. And Joe Harris hit right there with him. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league. And just throw in DeAndre Jordan with him at center. And that is, in my opinion, the best five-man lineup in basketball. What team's better than that? Kyrie, Harden, KD, Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan. No team comes close to that. Okay, no team comes close. I'm just telling you right now. And off the bench, they have a few people, like I said. They have Landry Shamet. They have Timothy Lualo Cabaret. They have Jeff Green. And they have Bruce Brown. So, some scoring off the bench. They're all guards or small forwards, like shooting guards or small forwards. So, they will need a center off the bench, and they will need a playmaker off the bench. But, at least they still have some scoring off the bench. They can play Tyler Johnson if they want to. Next year, they'll be straight because they have Spencer Dinwiddie back. And see, they didn't even give up Spencer Dinwiddie. That's the wild thing, bro. They still have it because they couldn't. He was injured. So they still have Spencer Dinwiddie, too. So next year, bro, Spencer Dinwiddie could be like the star version of Sean Livingston for the Warriors, bro. He could be like the star version of it. Or he could get traded. Who knows? But that just gives them another piece for next year. But for this year, if we're really just going to get up to that starting lineup, the bench is going to come in. Maybe they'll score a few points and not play a lick of defense. But it's okay because you have three of the best offensive players in the league. Arguably, you have three top 15 players considering where you put Irving. And in my opinion, you have like two top 6, top 7 players, depending on where you put Harden. I put Kevin Durant, honestly. Right now, I have him at number 2, but I think if you saw my last video, I said I think by the end of the season he can be number 1. We had to see on that one, but still, you got 2 top 10 players and 3 top 15. That's fucking amazing. But I think in terms of offense, 3 top 10 players. They're all top 10 in offense, no doubt. So, do I think the Nets will win the championship? Well, I think if they face the Celtics, they're beating the Celtics. All right, I'm just gonna cut the chase, man. They're beating every Eastern Conference team except for the Bucks. May give them a run, but even if they meet the Bucks, I say Nets in 6. In terms of the West, beating them, well, there's only 2 teams I really think can make the finals this year, being the Lakers and Clippers. I think other teams can give them a run for their money, but at the end of the day, I think it's Lakers or Clippers, and if the Clippers face them, I think it would be a very close series, but I think the Nets would still win, like, every time in about 6 or 7 game series. But I think it's kind of a coin toss between LeBron and the Nets. I think that'd be a really, really fun series to watch. Because, you've already seen LeBron go up against a super team like that. We don't even know if this team would be as good as the Warriors with KD. They may be better, maybe worse. But if they're about the same skill level as the Warriors were, we saw LeBron go up against them and lose every time but one. But the difference this time is, guys, there's a difference. LeBron has a superstar teammate. Kyrie's not a superstar teammate. He's damn close to it. But AD's, he's a superstar top 6, top 7 player. Just like James Harden. He's on that caliber. So at that point, it's like, well, the greatest player of all time has a superstar on his team. So he has a little more of a chance. But at the end of the day, if I had to bet money on it, Nets are being the 2021 champions. They may even repeat since they have Spencer Dinwiddie coming back next year. All I know is if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, congratulations. You pretty much just guaranteed yourself a damn championship. And if not, you're going to be real sad, just like those back-to-back finals that y'all lost. But y'all definitely make it to the finals at some time with this team. Anyways, guys, that's all we got time for today. Hope you have a great day. Exotic Sports out. Like and subscribe if you want to. But if not, we still chillin', boy. See y'all next time.